I remember standing on the rail of the boat as it pulled away from India, and my parents were both crying and crying, and India was getting smaller and smaller, and all the lights were getting dimmer and dimmer, and I didn't really understand why they were crying, but they were crying because they knew that they'd never see her again. And we docked in Tilbury, and it was a really grey day, really drizzly, and I remember actually docking, but I don't remember the journey to London. And then we stayed in an immigrant camp, which was in the basement of this church near Selfridges, and they had all the men and boys in one part and all the women and girls all on these iron cots. It was just like really like Dickens, and they had all these English people, like they were like warders that used to tell us off and everything, because nobody wanted children, right? Nobody wanted coloureds, nobody wanted children, and nobody wanted pets, right? So you couldn't get anywhere. And my dad just walked all over London, yeah? The only shop that we knew about was Harrods, because that's what had been in all the magazines and everything. And they'd brought some of their savings. And they took us to Harrods, right, and bought me and my sister overcoats and everything, because we didn't have any warm clothing, yeah? And like people were so unused to seeing, you know, black people or whatever in the street. We used to be walking along Oxford Street and people used to stop, right, and just stare at us, stop in their tracks, yeah, and point at us and everything. We were just like really, you know, unusual. You can't imagine it now. And when I went to school, all the kids equally used to take the piss out of me, right, because of how I talked, and they thought that I was an Indian from the States, yeah, like a red Indian, right? And I think in about 3 weeks I changed my accent, and I started learning to survive.